So hello everyone. Welcome to an Astro Dice read. We're going to roll the Astro Dice and see what sign Spirit wants to talk to today. And then we're going to roll the house dice and the planet dice to see if there's any other significant placements that may also need this message in divine time. I will preface, sometimes the messages come through to help you receive whatever revelation you need about circumstances in your life, whether they are past and relevant to the healing you're going through now to help you move forward. They could be present and what you're dealing with right now, and they could be something that is coming in for you to look at. Okay. There is going to be unpopular opinions, but trust me, the messages come through for good reason, okay? To help you understand perspective. So I have faith it will resonate with you how it's meant to. Hey, Risa, how you doing? So let's see the sign that Spirit wants to talk about today. Libra. All right, Libra. Let's see what other placements may also be significant. 12th house, so you may also be a Scorpio rising, and Venus, which is Libra's natural ruling planet. You may also have Venus in the 12th, regardless of sign. Let me write this stuff down. Venus 12th. You could have Venus in Pisces. And because Libra rules the 7th house, you could have Venus in the 7th. You could also have Venus or Libra ruling the 12th, which would make you, or Pisces rather. Pisces ruling the 7th. That's what I was getting at. Pisces ruling the 7th, which would make you a Virgo rising. All right, so those are going to be significant for you with this message. All right, Scorpio or Virgo rising, Venus in the 12th or the 7th, and Venus in Pisces or Libra. All right. So with that, let's see what deck Spirit wants to get into today. Of course, Harrow. Of course, Harrow. We'll also use my hand-drawn cards and the energy alignment deck. For insight, we'll use the Light Seers Tarot. Ooh, all right, Spirit. And the Garbage Pail Kids Tarot. And for guidance at the end, we're going to do the Crystal Mandala Oracle. All right. If this reading is not about you personally, it may be significant to someone in your life. All right, so Libra big 3, though, sun, moon, or rising, is going to be the most significant. And then, of course, the other placements may also hold true. So let's see what is going on. We're going to get all the cards out, and then I'm going to break it down for you. All right, so Spirit, please. Spirit, please. What do we need to know for Libra, Scorpio rising, Virgo rising, Venus placements in the 12th or the 7th, or Venus in Pisces or Libra? We've got the Foreign Trader. What else? Oh, that wanted to pop out and it didn't. That was the Tangled Briar. We're going to keep it in there, but Mentally noted. I hope y'all are doing well. Let's see what is going on for Libra and these other placements, that they would need this message in divine time. We've got the Liar. I feel like there's more. What else is with the Liar? I feel like there's another card. Yep, the Queen Mother. That's an interesting combination. Okay. And give me one more, Spirit. Whoa. We got the Beating. The Cyclone, the Juggler, and the Sickness also came out. I'm going to leave them as a side note. Because that might be insight. That might be insight into the situation. Hi, Lighthouse Dreamer. Love the name. I love Lighthouse Synchronicities. Thanks for your presence. All right, what other archetypal energies may be at play? Clarify the Foreign Trader, please. We've got the Dawn. Clarify the Liar with the Queen Mother. We got the Scissors. And clarify the Beating, please. Clarify the Beating, please. You are stuck here. And the Cross. So we got the Crossroad and the Cross. All right. The Alchemy set is on the top. And the Mirror is on the bottom. All right. The Uprising and the Survivor on the top and bottom of the Harrow. Let's get some energy alignment cards, see where each of these three energies are at. Clarify the Foreign Trader, please. Disenchanted and Manipulative Sideways. All right. The Liar and the Queen Mother, please. Really sideways cards. Positive self-talk. Faith and Vulnerability. And then clarify the Beating, please. Excuses. Okay. Okay. Top of the deck is integrity oriented. Bottom is needs proof, believe it when they see it. The light would be claircognizant. Okay, to get out of that shadow of needing proof. It's about trusting what you know without proof, right? Hey, Rita. Sometimes we don't need proof. Sometimes we literally just know and are waiting for proof, and the proof never comes, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. All right. So the Foreign Trader is an intelligence card. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Harrow, it comes from the world of Pathfinder. They're D&D cards. They have all kinds of different alignments on them. And there's a lot of D&D lingo in there, but I translate it to everyday life situations and messages. So bear with, okay? The Foreign Trader is a neutral aligned card, true neutral. It's the card of spies and peddlers alike. Anyone who trades in information are subject to the card's influence. A bargain made under this card's auspice always concludes true, but the ramifications of the pact might be shocking for those who don't understand its implications. Someone made a deal and didn't understand the consequences or the result of the deal they were making. And someone who is willing to trade information. Information is powerful commodity to have. When you have information on people and know things about people, it could be really easy to abuse that, which is probably why we have these two shadow cards here. And the light is coming up, right, with the dawn. I'm feeling like whatever information this person has, they're either about to use it. They're either about to use it against someone, or when they trade the information for whatever it is that they want, there's consequences that they did not anticipate. They're in the mirror, right? We had this card come out. We had the mirror come out. They might not understand how the mirror works, how the shadows that they see in other people are also present within the self, especially in regards to their relationship with their higher self. But it's definitely giving mastermind energy, spy energy. They may be projecting that at this person. Like this person, like they might be accusing this person of spying or finding out information or trying to get information from other people when it's something they themselves are doing. And if this person is in fact a liar or someone who betrays, it is a mirror for this person. Because this person is also a liar and betrays people. There's definitely something going on here. Okay. As we get into the liar and the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother is a wisdom card. The liar is a charisma card. The liar is chaotic evil. It is love at its most treacherous. This is not the love that moves mountains. This is the love that rips the heart in two and causes lovers to leap to their deaths. This lamia can mean obsession, unrequited passion, or doomed love. With the Queen Mother is lawful neutral, and it is knowledge personified. The Formian knows all, but does not reveal anything to anyone who does not show her worship. She is fond of the powerless and the underclasses, for they serve her when the more powerful refuse. She represents the need to become part of society or to bow before those who know more than you. So this individual, right? This is a hardcore betrayal type energy, right? Love at its most treacherous, rips people apart, obsession and doom come with this person, and a lot of power. They do have a lot of information, a lot, and they want people to quote unquote worship her properly. And I say her because of the gender on the cards, but it could just be someone in their strong feminine energy regardless of gender. So take these as it resonates, okay? Don't get hung up on genders no matter what pronouns I use. This individual knows more than this person, and this person wants to know what they know. The problem is this person doesn't say anything unless they're worshipped or obsessed over. So this first person, in the pursuit of obtaining information, trying to manipulate this person, right? This person is disenchanted. There's an element of apathy here. I'm just picking up on apathy. They may be trying to manipulate the second person. Now, the second person with positive self-talk and faith and vulnerability with the scissors may have no problem cutting this person off. No problem. This person understands their power, right? At the end of the day, this person understands their power. And I don't think they're to be fucked with, to be honest. If this person thinks that they can manipulate or get one over on the intuition of this person, because I'm feeling like this person's actually really intuitive. And this person may be coming up into a rise. So they may have an opportunity to actually heal these things. Like they're sideways. They're not upright, but they're not reversed either. So these shadows of manipulation and being disenchanted may be in the balance. Likewise, this person's positive light with the self-talk and the faith, right? Faith and vulnerability and being honest are also in the balance. They're light and they're not reversed, but they're not upright either. So there may be a situation between these two happening where this person is putting, the first person is putting at risk the second person's light. I think that person number two may be in a position where they might have to remain honest and trust themselves, because if they flip into shadow to meet this person at their shadow, and their shadow isn't flipping into light, right? That this person, that this energy would flip into negative self-talk or spiritual ignorance, right? Racking up karmic debt. I think if they were to go this way with this person and start letting this person in without them elevating, this person may end up crushing that person psychically or emotionally, especially because we're dealing with 12th house and Venusian energy, especially if there is a chance for a partnership here. Person number two is powerful. And the downside, if person number two were to crush, you know, the mind or heart of person number one, they would have a hard time not feeling bad about themselves. Or they would end up feeling like they're not getting the proper compassion, the proper consideration from the first person, right? They would be subjected to feeling like crap, especially if they're letting person number one kind of pull them along without recognition, right? Recognition of power in their life, the powerful person that they are or could be or were, right? Tense is relative to whoever is watching, so take it as it resonates. But this person has a lot to offer. This person wants what this person is offering. And what's going to happen is this person, if they stay in the light, is going to end up cutting off the first person if they don't flip into their light, which is equal energy exchange and a visionary, right? Seeing the bigger picture, seeing the dawn, seeing how this person benefits them in more ways than they actually realize. There's some kind of spiritual benefit that can actually connect these two. But it requires the first person to heal into equal energy exchange. So whatever person number 2 is offering in terms of information or power or healing or love or spirituality, whatever it is, this person is going to have to meet them on their level. They cannot ride the coattails, so to speak, of the second person. Now, this third energy, the beating, it's a strength card. The beating is a neutral evil. It signifies coming under attack from all sides, but it can also indicate the dissolution of the self mentally. Whether the strength is of the flesh or the mind, it dissolves under relentless attacks. Being stuck or the angel hung on the cross and excuses. I think that this energy being here, I feel like for most of you, it's not another person. I think for most of you, this could actually feel a bit like psychological torture. I think that both of these individuals may be angels in their own right, but I feel like person number 2 may have already gotten themselves off the cross and are at risk of going back on it for person number 1. I think person number 1 is the angel who is hung on the cross as of present. And is trying to convince person number 2 to get them off the cross when that's not possible. They have to get themselves off. They're looking at person number 2 like they're an out of this energy because they're stuck there. And they're making excuses as to why they're hanging or martyring themselves for someone else in their reality or something else, whatever person or situation it is they're dealing with. They're looking at person number 2 as the power player to help them through it, to help get them off that. Or looking at person number 2 to hold the weight, right? To hold the weight of it while they continue to martyr themselves and make excuses for why they're still martyring themselves and staying stuck and not progressing or healing. Person number 2 ain't going to have it. They're not going to hang on the cross with person number 1 if they stay in their light. Person number 2 already knows what it feels like to be in that energy and got themselves out of that energy. But if they make excuses for person number 1 and hold, sympathy or the desire to be worshipped, even if they're not getting it, they're holding, fingers crossed for it, and they're making excuses for person number 1, they're going to end up here. And it is going to feel like psychological torture inside both of their own minds. Because person number 2 is not going to be able to handle the fact that they are back on this fucking cross, making excuses for someone else and stressing themselves out, holding all the weight. And person number 1 is going to go through a psychological beating if they don't heal, because if person number 2 is holding up all the weight, what happens if person number 2 dips? So the psychological torture would be wondering if person number 2 is going to leave them. Their insecurities are going to eat them alive, because they're depending or trying to depend on person number 2 to carry all this fucking weight. The cyclone, the sickness, and the juggler. The cyclone is a force that tears through whatever it meets. It's disaster. Does not come in the course of natural order, but the one that comes from plots of intelligent beings. The sickness represents plague, pestilence, famine, disease. It can also indicate corruption of the soul or a multitude of souls. And the juggler represents fate, the gods, or those who play with the lives and destinies of others. If this titanic juggler can keep up his rhythm, he'll achieve his goals, but in misalignment, he'll falter, and tragedy and failure are assured for those of the lives he's meddled in. I think, and it's just the way I'm feeling it, there's potential for person number one to heal. Hey, Tanya, how are you? But the likelihood of it is slim. They're stuck in some kind of shadow, and being given an opportunity to heal, I don't, honest to God, feel like they're going to take it, though. And I think this is the energy that they're bringing into the situation. And person number two may have to, it's like walking, I feel like it's walking a tightrope. Like they have to watch their step, because I don't think they realize just how manipulative person number one actually is. And they're not getting any proof of that, right? So person number one might not come off manipulative. They might come off very sincere. They might come off emotionally deep, right? They might come off as a very sensitive person and not necessarily someone who is manipulative. They might not come off as someone super intelligent, you know, like book smart, but maybe they're survival smart. Maybe they've dealt with some serious shadow individuals in their own lives, and their survival mechanisms, their self-protect mode comes in the form of psychic or emotional manipulation, and they're highly intelligent in that regard. Like person number one might be really interested in person number two and might not be expressing it at all, right? They might be playing games. Like, you know, how fucking people who haven't grown into adult relationships are like, well, I'm not texting them back right away, or I'm not going to initiate a conversation. I don't want them to think I'm too eager. I don't want them to think I'm too into them. I don't want them to think whatever, but they are, you know, and they're playing this game with person number two, and person number two is like, listen, if you like me, if you want to hang out with me, if you want to, you know, talk to me, if you want to get to know me, like, be present, initiate conversation, say hi, talk to me when you want to talk to me or you're thinking of me. Like, don't play the fucking games. Like, they want to be properly worshipped, right? Quote unquote, worshipped. They want the recognition of their power. They want that identification, right? The soul identification. They want it. And if person number two is playing games, and person number two probably already senses it, that they're playing games, that they're trying to manipulate person number two to think or feel a certain way, when person number two knows their power, and they're not going to chase person number one. Person number one, I think person number one wants to chase person number two, but is manipulating and trying to get person number two to chase them instead. Trying to get person number two wrapped up in them and their shadows. They're playing heart games. This could end up a mental 𝗬𝗲𝗿. Person number two has to tread lightly. Person number two has to tread lightly. All right, let's get some deeper insight into this. We're going to start with the Garbage Pail Kids. Mind you guys, they are Garbage Pail Kid tarot cards. If you are not familiar with what Garbage Pail Kids are, Google them. They're gross. The cards have gross images. Okay, they're like gross Cabbage Patch dolls. Okay. Giving you a heads up if you don't know what Garbage Pail Kids are. Insight into this first person. Insight into this first person. What is actually going on? Show me person number 1, please, Spirit. Show me person number 1. You have the 8 of coins reversed and the 9 of coins. With the Knight of coins and the Knight of wands. Ooh. Come on, card. One under the table. Oh, got it. The Magician in the reverse. Definitely someone manipulative. Okay, give me one more. And the Queen of Wands. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the Queen of Coin. Top is the 8 of Swords. Okay. Person number 1 is definitely in their head, right? With the 8 of Swords on top. They're in their head, and it shows a black widow weaving a web. This person has a poison in the mind. I'm even being drawn to the cauldron. It's like a poison. And they're weaving a web. They're trying to catch person number 2. The 8 of coins with the Knight of wands. I don't think they're putting in any effort towards building passion or spark. They're trying to come off chill, single, sovereign, whatever. Like, I'm good on my own. I'm busy. I'm living my life. Right? 9 of coins with the Magician reverse, but it's all manipulation. It's all manipulation. This is a vulture on the card. They're trying to find, this is the information they're trying to get on person number 2. They're trying to find the rot, whatever little bit of rot in person number 2 that exists, so that they can feed off of that, trying to find that weak point so that they can use it against them. I think they're moving really slowly. And I definitely think they've got money issues. They're leaking money. Okay. This person's leaking some kind of finances. We've got the coins spilling out in the from the bag. And it's a centaur, so they could have a Chiron issue that they haven't healed yet, right? Because we were talking about them also being a martyr, you know, the angel on the cross. Clarified by the Queen of Wands, they don't listen. Like, this Queen of Wands is clearing out her ears, right? She's got all that gunk in her ears. All that, like, earwax, right? Hi, Josiah. How you doing? Yeah, I think they have money problems, and I don't necessarily think they're willing to listen. Like, they're leaking money. That's a problem. See, if they're going to heal, if person number 2 is going to help them heal, and they're martyring themselves in some way, and they're not listening, person number 2 might feel the need to pick up the cross and carry the weight because they don't want to hear it, or they have excuses to continue to leak. That's how person number 2 might get hooked into this. This person comes off single, sovereign, but they're not putting any sense of passion or purpose into it. They're not igniting the actual desire or interest of person number 2, because person number 2 wants to be seen in their power. And they want to be matched in power. They want to find their match, right? The mirror. This person doesn't realize how manipulative they are. They're really in their head. And they don't realize that their thought patterns are creating behavior patterns that are off-putting. Like I said, this person might have serious insecurity issues. And they're trying to pull person number 2 in. But I think person number 2 finds their insecurities rather unattractive. Not because of the insecurities being what they are and like specifically, but because this person is insecure in the first place, regardless of what it is. This person doesn't know their value. This person does. And if they deal with this person for too long, they're going to forget their value. If the first person is not willing to see their own and fix this leaking financial problem, they've got to be willing to listen. They have to have a desire to heal Chiron, their martyr wound. But there's a part of them, a damaged part of them, that is trying to find the little piece in person number 2 that they could feed off of. I honestly, God, think person number 2 is more inclined to cut them off than be fed off of. I think person number 2 has been through some kind of lesson regarding this already. I think they're a very patient person. I think they're team oriented. You know, if you think of ants and animal spirit medicine, spirit medicine represents both patience and teamwork. And that's what this person is about. Like, they want a co-ruler in life. They don't want to rule and have power over someone's life. But snakes, you know, you see the serpent here, the half person, half snake, like they are serious, potent medicine. They've got a serious antidote potential, but an equally as poisonous venom. I think person number 1 might be biting off more than they can chew if they think that they can manipulate or get into the shadow of person number 2. Person number 1 might be biting off more than they can chew, thinking they can manipulate person number 2. Let's get some insight into person number 2. Light Seer Tarot. What do we need to know about person number 2? Please, Spirit, what's going on with them? Where are they at? Show me person number 2. I've got the Hierophant, the 10 of Wands, the Page of Cups, the Tower, the Ace of Cups, and the Chariot. Six of Pentacles is on the bottom with the 9 of Cups. Wow. The Hierophant is a divine teacher, right? They're a spiritual teacher, a high teacher. With the Tower, they bring in lightning and revelation. Uranus and Taurus may be the aspect that is truly in alignment with person number 2 right now. Uranus is currently in Taurus day, regardless of when you catch this message. So whoever person number 2 is, they're going through some kind of revelatory healing right now. This person does know what burden feels like, and they do overpour. They do come in like a blessing with the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is when the universe overflows to someone, right? This person is very well aware of the fact that they've healed a Chiron lesson, which is why they can help heal it in others. They know that they have the divine backing to do this. They're a very sincere individual. They hold a lot of compassion with the Page of Cups, but they might be like, sorry, but I'm moving forward, right? The Page of Cups with the Chariot. Like, I feel for you, person number 1, right? I feel for you. There might be a deep connection there. I might be your wish fulfillment. I might have what you need and be able to give to you, right? 6 of Pentacles. The issue with the 6 of Pentacles is it's a one-way give. It's non-reciprocal. I think that person number 2 knows they would be the giver and the wish fulfillment of person number 1. But they would rather continue on alone and be blessed by the divine than get sidetracked and be the quote-unquote blessing for person number 1. They would rather let person number 1 figure out how to heal their own Chiron wound before getting mixed up in it. Like, sometimes you just have to let go of people who are in a toxic place, regardless of understanding how they got there, because I think person number 2 understands. The Hierophant with the Tower, they might have some serious spiritual insights into the mirror of person number 1. They're a fucking powerful person. Person number 2 is a powerful person. I said that at the beginning, and the tarot just confirmed all that. I feel like whoever they are, I think they care deeply about person number 1. They probably have some kind of past life connection, which is what is bringing them into their experience right now. The problem is person number 2 has let their past go and healed through certain things, and person number 1 is coming back in, trying to pull them back into a repeating story. And I don't think person number 2 is having it. I think person number 2 is happy on their own. I think they are getting downloads from the divine. I think they do know that picking up person number 1 would be heavy, and it would be a one-way pour. Even if it's 90-10, like, it's not fair, you know? I think they hold a lot of compassion, but they gotta go. They're elevating, right? They're literally like elevating off the card. I feel like person number 2 married themselves a while ago. And in order for person number 1 to come in, they'd have to be an energetic equal. They'd have to be an energetic match, right? Equal energy exchange was the reverse side of this shadow. Instead of trying to manipulate to get the 90 for the 10, they need to focus on equal energy exchange. But they can only do that if they're on person number 2's level, spiritually speaking, and they're not. They're not. They still have healing to do. They still have healing to do. Give me Give me a couple cards for this third energy. What does that look like? I just pulled the Prism Tarot and the Animal Spirit Tarot. What is going on with this potential cycle, right? This stuck cycle. If person number 2 ends up moving forward, what does that look like? Let's do that. If person number 2 ends up moving forward and it's like, I care about you and I'm sorry because I feel the connection. I feel the need you have of me, but I would rather continue to be in the overflow of spirit and not pretend that I am spirit overflowing for you. Yeah, we've got the 4 of Wands. That's inner union, home to the self. Lots of lightning with this person. Lots of lightning with this person. What else? The 10 of lightning. That's the 10 of Wands again. 3 of gems. Yeah, they know it's a burdening contract. It's a burdensome collaboration. It's heavy, spiritually heavy, right? The 10 of Wands is spiritual weight. Anything else we need to know about that, Spirit, before I pull the animal cards? The Oracle of Raindrops. They're a Queen of Cups. They're a seer, right? They're highly intuitive. This is sensitivity. This person is highly, highly intuitive. They know it would be a burden, and it's not their job. Person number 1 needs to heal person number 1. Person number 1 needs to look within the self and go through their Chiron healing without siphoning off energy from other people, which is, I think, what they're naturally inclined to do based off their wounds. They're inclined to want person number 2 to help heal them. And person number 2, I think in any other shadow chapter would have, but they've gotten out of that chapter already. They want an energetic equal. They want a co-ruler, a real like partner. They want someone on the same page as them. They don't want a project. They don't want a project. Like, I don't mean to, like, you know, diss on person number 1, but where this person is at spiritually, like, they are their own project right now. Person number 2 doesn't want to pick it up. I've got the Page of Coin on the bottom and the Page of Cups on top. I think this person does really hold compassion. And I think that they're willing to help person number 1 plants, get seeds planted to get them out of their own restriction, but they're staying sovereign. They're staying sovereign from the relationship. They're walking away from it. They know that it would put them in a scarcity mindset. It would put them back in victim mindset or lack mentality, where they'd kind of be fighting for air. That's how they're taking the lead. Yeah, I think they're choosing to stay sovereign. I don't think they're moving forward with person number 1. Let me get an animal spirit card, and then I'm going to pull some guidance. What is the overall energy, please, that we need to understand concerning this message with that stuck energy? The bee. The bee. Yeah, like they have the sweetness, right? They're the honey. They're the gold. They are the sweetness, but it's been a labor of love. Like it takes a lot of energy for bees to create honey. It takes a lot of hours and a lot of work to make honey. And I think this person has spent a lot of time kind of goldifying themselves, right? Sweetening their energy. I think they've spent a lot of time and effort into what they've created, the sweetness that they've created, and trying to take it, right? Trying to take it without putting in any of the work to create it, without working with them, they're going to sting. They're going to sting. It's going to sting. When person to number 2 breaks the news to person number 1, it's going to sting. But I think it's for the highest good of both of them. I think it's for the highest good of both of them, because ultimately, if person number 2 continued to allow the pursuit, the kind of underhanded, right, pursuit of person number 1 to persist, because like I said, person number 1 might be really interested in person number 2, but they're not letting on just how interested they are. They're playing games. They're playing games. But they are not an energetic match, which means there has to be some kind of elevation or falling. I don't think that person number 1, where they're at as of right now, understands elevation. I don't think they understand it. I don't think they're incapable. I think they lack understanding. I think they are spiritually ignorant and not necessarily willing to learn or listen, because their ears are clogged with whatever they're trying to get out of person number 2. They're trying to manipulate it. And the act or the thought process that is manipulative is clouding their ears. They can't hear what person number 2 would be guiding to them in order to get them to elevate. Their spiritual ears aren't open. They're too busy trying to calculate to achieve what they want or hope to achieve with person number 2. And person number 2 does not have time for it. Because they could see. I think person number 2 can see the mask. I think person number 2 can see through the facade. I think person number 2 can see the manipulation. And they're just not willing to play. They're not willing to play. They've been through enough Chiron lessons to where they're not going through it again. They won't do it to themselves. Like, I don't think this person number 2 is heartless. I think they care about person number 1, and they would want person number 1 to choose their healing and elevate with them. But I think they know that what they're saying or anything they're trying to teach is falling on deaf ears, because person number 1 is too busy trying to figure out how to get person number 2 where they want them. Too busy being the vulture trying to find that little percentage of shadow to connect to and feed off of. I don't think person number 1 is a bad person. I think they're also the martyr. I think they're also the angel. I think they are a past representation of person number 2. I think person number 2 knows exactly where person number 1 is, because at one point in their life, person number 1 was person number 2 was person number 1. I think person number 2 got out of that energy. And person number 2 knows how to teach person number 1 to get out of it, because they themselves got out of it. But person number 1 is not hearing it. They're not willing to hear it or capable with where they're at. What's the guidance, please? What's the guidance, please, Spirit? What's the guidance, please, for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, Virgo, Rising, Venus in the 12th or the 7th, Venus in Pisces or Libra? What is the guidance, please? What is the guidance, please? Angel Isda and Carnelian Nourishment. Root chakra energy. Crystal Angels 444. Card number 10. All right. Let's read. Nourishment. It says, we bring you the gift of nourishment. You are ready to grow. And to do this, you need food for your body, mind, and soul. We want you to feel fed with what brings you life, with what helps you feel good, with what heals you and increases your energy and your power. We know what you need and what can assist you to grow in mind, body, and spirit. We know that life can be a banquet for the soul. There are so many choices as to what you can feed yourself. And sometimes you may be confused about what is good for you and what is not. Let go of any doubt or shame, guilt or fear about being nourished now, as we guide you towards what will truly feed your life force and bring you happiness. Choice is a part of your spiritual freedom. And there is a better choice that you can make for yourself if you wish and when you feel ready to do so. If someone offers you fear-based reality, you can understand with your heart that this is all they are willing or capable of expressing in that moment. And with the light of your mind, you can clearly see that although it may seem harmless enough to that person, you know it is not good for you. The love you choose to act on for yourself in that moment is going to contribute far more constructive energy to the world than if you tried to fit in with others and deny your right to genuine nourishment just to keep another comfortable with their own more fearful choices. It's junk food, right? This is about understanding that your relationships with other people are either good for you or they're not. I think person number one knows that person number two is good for them. I think that person number two knows that person number one is bad for them. The only reason person number one is bad for them is because they are probably tied up in other people, fear-based realities that other people are holding them in that are bad for them, right? Like poison. Like person number one might have all the potential in the world to be healthy, nourishing soul food for person number two, but they're allowing themselves to be poisoned. It doesn't matter how healthy the dish is if someone sprinkled poison on it. Poison is poison. Now the healthy dish is bad. I think person number one has all of the potential to be a healthy choice for person number two, but they don't know how to cut off the poison dripping onto what they're offering. They're leaking financially. They probably wouldn't listen if someone told them they could do it this way or do it that way. Change the way they're doing it. They probably would not listen to a thing person two had to say about their financial situation. They want to control it. They want to do it the way they want to do it. And they want person number two to hold the weight. I'm leaking financially. I just need you to bring in more stability so that I can leak the way I want to leak and be poisoned the way I want to be poisoned. They don't actually want to take the guidance or the teachings of person number two. They're stuck in their head, right? That Black Widow energy. They might be trying to weave a web for person number two to be caught in, but they themselves might already be caught in a Black Widow's web. Someone else already caught in the web. Person number two knows how to get them out of it, but they don't even see how they're caught in the web. They think they're doing the best they can being caught up in that web. And on top of it, they're playing psychological games, mind games, emotional games. They're holding back, right? They're not being honest with themselves. They're not being honest with person number two. They're holding things in. If they're not a liar outright, they're omitting a lot. They're not being genuine. Their actions, right, are not genuine in regard to how they actually feel. They're doing things against what they really want to do because they're trying to manipulate the outcome. They want a certain outcome and they can't be themselves because they would push person 2 away. They're trying to lure person number 2 in with shadows. They want person number 2 to chase them. Person number 2 is not going to chase. Person number 2 is not going to chase. Why would they chase a poisoned plate? They're like, it's okay, I'll go find something else. Like you would be a very wonderful, soul-nourishing meal to partake in. And we could probably nourish each other. But if you're going to sit there and let yourself be poisoned by other circumstances and not be willing to hear me out on how to neutralize that poison so that you can be a nourishing soul food for me in my life, I'm just going to go find something else to eat. I'm going to go find nourishment elsewhere. Something that is healthy and good for me and that's not poisoned. It's like being at a buffet. And the dish would be really good, but there's a fucking fly on it. And it's off-putting. They're like, it's all good. I don't want the dish that the flies are swarming. I'll just go eat something else. Because the buffet is huge. There's plenty of people and energy in the world. They don't have to eat that. They don't have to be with person number 1. And I think they realize that. I think they enjoy person 1. I think that there's a lot of things to like about person 1. There's a lot of potential. But the problem with potential is that it's not reality. And at the end of the day, you are what you eat. And if the reality of person number 1 is that they are poisoned, person number 2 is going to become what they eat, and they themselves are going to become poison, and they're going to absolutely crush person number 1 in the long run. They would crush them. If person number 1 chose not to heal and drug person number 2 in, and person number 2 let themselves get drug in and tried to carry that weight for person number 1, at some point person number 2 would cut them off and move forward because they've already been there, done that, and they'd get really fucking pissed at themselves for repeating a cycle. And they would absolutely crush emotionally, psychologically, financially, mentally. They would crush person number 1 when they left, because person number 2 would have ended up in a position where they were holding up the whole world, holding up this person mentally, holding up this person emotionally, holding up this person financially. And if person number 2 cut person number 1 off, I don't know if person number 1 would actually recover from it. I think person number 2 is more inclined to let person number 1 go now and avoid that whole tornado, right? That whole cyclone of sickness scenario. They don't want to walk the fine line. They don't want to juggle all of this energy. They don't want to. They don't have to. It's not their job. You are what you eat. It's the same saying as you are who you befriend. You hang around people long enough and you're just like them. And until you choose to be around new people and new energy and cut certain shit off that is not healthy for you, spiritually, it's not healthy for you. It's not adding to your life. Like, everybody makes their own choices. People in person number 1's life, the poison that they're taking on, those poisonous people made their fucking choices. They made the beds they're laying in. They chose it. Person number 1 didn't choose it for them. They chose it for themselves. No different than person number 1 is choosing their reality with poisonous, toxic people. And it's a choice they're making for themselves. They don't have to choose it. They're choosing it anyway. And they're making excuses. I have to martyr myself and hang on this cross and be the suffering angel. Like, I'm sorry, where's the violin? Can I break out the violin? Like, the sad tune that person number 1 is playing, like, person number 2 is upbeat. They're upbeat. They're positive. person number 1 is in a woe is me energy, and person number 2 is rocking Destiny's Child Survivor. Like, you know what I mean? I think person number 2 wishes person number 1 nothing but the best blessings in life. I think person number 2 wishes and hopes that they heal. But I think person number 2 knows that going down that path where person number 1 is right now, the timing's not right. I think they would ultimately end up a huge detriment to person number 1 if they continue to stick it out or try and carry the weight that this person is holding, all the while being poisoned, right? Yeah. And that's the message. So if you're person number 1 and you understand that I'm talking to you as person number 1 and you're actually hearing this, I think that there is a chance for you to turn it around and possibly get on the light side of this if you're willing to take instruction from the teacher that is person number 2. You have to be willing to be taught. If you are unwilling to listen and unwilling to be taught and you want to do things your own way, person number 2 is going to walk. And that's just the way the cookie's going to crumble. I don't think you're beyond that point, or I wouldn't be here guided to do this message. I think you still have a choice, right? You have a choice in what you want to experience and feed yourself in life. And if you're person number 2 catching this, I think the window's closing, where you have to have a conversation with person number 1 and let them go sooner than later. Sooner than later. The sooner the better. The sooner the better. Because you can't make excuses and stay stuck and martyr yourself, thinking that it could be something that it's not going to be. I think you have something bright coming in when you remember that the divine is meant to overflow. And that even though the divine is a part of you, you are not the quote unquote divine for someone else. The divine doesn't need you to do that. With that said, guys, I love you all. And I have faith that if this message caught you, it caught you in divine time. Because we're all healing here. And time doesn't stop ticking. The planets don't stop moving. The alignments don't stop happening. And we only get so many opportunities before we start a new chapter, right? There's only so many lines in the book before a new chapter starts, or a book ends, or a new book begins. I think person number 2 I think they both honestly have a chance to start a new book with each other. I think person number 2 is starting a new book regardless. It's just a matter of whether or not person number 1 wants to elevate with them or not. But they got to be willing to learn. If they're stubborn as hell and they don't want to be taught, they want to do things the way they want to do things, and they don't want to change. They want to control the situation. They want to control the timing of stuff. I think person number 2 is out. They're not going to sit around and wait for the student to want to learn. They're just going to find someone who wants to learn. So, I love you guys, and I will see y'all next time. Stay blessed. Feel blessed. Much love to you all.